Here are the top stories for today, February 28, 2022. Metro Manila and some areas in the country will shift to the new normal starting tomorrow. More restrictions will be eased while more establishments will be allowed to operate on full capacity. The government moves to evacuate Filipinos as fighting between Russia and Ukraine rages. The Philippines' top diplomat flies to Poland to personally check their condition. President Rodrigo Duterte is thankful for the Filipinos' continued support to his administration, with no presidential candidate to endorse yet, just a few months before the next polls. And the country's top cop wants mobile phones and gadgets of police officers checked as he cracks down on e-sabong among the ranks, reminding them to stay out of trouble caused by addiction to the vice. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Metro Manila and 38 other areas will de-escalate to Alert Level 1 starting tomorrow, March 1st until March 15. This means restrictions will ease in terms of intrazonal and interzonal travel. All establishments, persons, or activities will also be allowed to operate, work, or be undertaken provided these are consistent with minimum public health standards. Meanwhile, face-to-face classes for primary education shall be subject to prior approval of the Office of the President.
Lahat ng opisina, pribado man o gobyerno ay maaari nang mag-operate ng 100% capacity. Para magkaroon ng malusog at ligtas na workplaces, kailangang aktibo ang ating safety and health officer. May contingency plan kayo? May good air exchange na naayon sa DOLE guideline, sumusunod sa hand hygiene at may maayos na sanitation facilities, sapat ang visual cues at signages, may mekanismo para sa agarang care at referral systems, may nakatalagang structures para sa active transport, smoke-free po at vape-free na mga pinagtatrabaho ang lugar, nakahandang tumugon sa mental health at psychosocial care concerns at mayroong health and safety education materials. Mahigit pong paalala sa lahat, ipagpatuloy pa rin po natin ang pagsusuot ng face masks sa loob at labas ng mga pampublikong lugar at masisikip na kinaroroonan kahit nasa Alert Level 1. Maliban na lamang kung kumakain o umiinom, naglalaro ng sports sa lugar na may sapat na ventilasyon tulad ng high ceiling courts at nag-eehersisyo sa labas where physical distancing can be maintained.
Public transport will revert to 100% passenger capacity in areas that will ease to Alert Level 1. Under the IATF guidelines, public transportation will no longer require the use of acrylic and/or plastic dividers. The IATF will also do away with the use of Safe, Swift, and Smart Passage or S-Pass travel management system in areas under Alert Level 1. On the other hand, the use of digital contact tracing such as StaySafe.ph is optional for all agencies and establishments. On testing protocols, the use of RT-PCR shall be recommended and prioritized for persons above 60 years of age and those with comorbidities, while testing for other groups shall be optional. Proof of full vaccination shall be required before entry into the allowed list of establishments. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, gears up for the imminent influx of vehicles on the road as NCR eases to Alert Level 1. Traffic czar Bong Nebrija says the MMDA is eyeing to extend the implementation of the number coding scheme in the morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. The current number coding scheme is from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. during weekdays except for holidays. To date, the Modified Unified Vehicular Volume Reduction Program is only implemented on weekdays except for holidays from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and only applies to private vehicles. The Tourism Department welcomes the lowering of the COVID-19 alert level in the National Capital Region and various areas across the country. Tourism Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat says the easing of restrictions is a testament to all the work and sacrifices we have made to reach this point. Under the Alert Level 1 status, venues for meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions are allowed provided that vaccinated individuals 18 years old and above will present their proof of vaccination. Also allowed are social events such as parties, wedding receptions, engagement parties, wedding anniversaries, debut, birthday parties, and the like. The same rules also apply in mass gatherings such as in venues for election-related events. The Catholic Church has allowed the marking of crosses on the foreheads of the faithful during the celebration of Ash Wednesday. However, the sprinkling of ashes on the crown will remain an option. Under the Alert Level 1 status, individuals 18 years old and above will be required to present proof of full vaccination before participating in mass gatherings or entry into indoor establishments such as, but not limited to, in-person religious gatherings, gatherings for necrological services, wakes, internment, and funeral, or those who died of causes other than COVID-19. For this year, Ash Wednesday falls on the 2nd of March. The CBCP assures that they will continue to strictly implement health protocols during church events in the observance of Lent. If religious processions will be allowed, these should be coordinated with local government and barangay officials. Moreover, the schedules of the online transmission of the celebrations will be made known to the faithful so they can follow spiritually these celebrations. As for popular devotions like the Pabasa, the CBCP said it may be organized considering the compliance with health protocols. Still ahead, Catholic prelates call for prayers to stop the conflict in Ukraine. And President Rodrigo Duterte vows a clean and peaceful elections. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Kung customer ka, pupuntahan mo ba yung mukhang safe naman o yung certified na safe? Ang safety seal ay patunay na certified safe ang iyong business dahil nasusunod ang minimum public health standards. Meron din itong QR code para mapadali ang contact tracing. Ito ay libre lang. Pero, kailangang i-renew every 6 months or every year kung nasa tourism sector ang iyong business. Kung meron ka ng mga documents na ito, pwede ka na mag-apply para sa Safety Seal Certification. May iba-ibang office para sa iba't ibang klase ng mga negosyo. Pag na-determine nyo na ang issuing authority, simple lang ang steps para makuha ang safety seal. Pumunta sa office ng issuing authority o sa kanilang website. Kumuha ng safety seal checklist at magsagawa ng self-assessment para sa iyong business. I-submit ang checklist at abangan ang inspection schedule. Pag na-approve ang application, bibigyan kayo ng safety seal sticker. Pag hindi naman na-approve, sasabihin kung anong health standard ang hindi nasunod at bibigyan kayo ng pagkakataong ayusin ito. Pag nakuha na ang safety seal, ipaskil ito sa may entrance para makita agad ng mga customer. Pwede nyo rin ipagmalaki na certified safe kayo sa inyong mga social media pages. Paalala lamang, ang isang safety seal ay para sa isang branch lang. Siguraduhin bawat branch mo ay certified safe. Siguraduhin din na nasusunod palagi ang minimum public health standards dahil baka mabawi ang iyong certification. Maaring mag-operate kahit na walang safety seal. Pero hindi ba mas mahalagang kampante ang mga customer sa loob ng iyong negosyo? Kaya kumuha na ng safety seal para ingat-angat tayong lahat.
Nais mo bang bumalik at magsimula ng panibagong buhay sa inyong probinsya? May solusyon dyan. Bisitahin ang balikprobinsya.ph upang mag-apply. Pero ano nga ba ang Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program o mas kilala bilang BP2? Ang programang ito ay binuo ng gobyerno mula sa EO 114 na naglalayong matugunan ang lumulobong populasyon at pagsikip ng mga residential area sa NCR. Layunin rin ng BP2 na makapagbigay ng pantay na oportunidad sa mga Pilipinong magbabalik probinsya. Ligtas at libre kang makakabalik sa inyong probinsya sa tulong ng BP2. May kasama pang tulong pinansyal at oportunidad para makapagsimula ng pangkabuhayan. Bagong pag-asa ang hatid ng Balik Probinsya program. Kaya naman ano pang hinihintay mo? Mag-register na sa balikprobinsya.ph.
The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, is reaching out to Filipinos in Ukraine who are hesitant to leave the country. DFA Undersecretary for Migrant Affairs Sara Lu Ariola says the Philippine government is extending all the necessary assistance to them, including care packages. During the Laging Handa briefing this morning, Ariola says repatriated Filipinos are being given at least $200 each, as well as psychosocial counseling in case they were traumatized by the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Ariola also said refugees in Ukraine wishing to flee to the Philippines are welcome here, as the government always had an open-door policy ever since. So far, 13 Filipinos have already crossed the border from Ukraine to Poland. Ariola said this includes 12 adults and 1 baby. They are expected to arrive in the country later tonight or tomorrow. She said at least 10 more in the city are still waiting to cross over to Poland.
Meron po rin pong maraming Pilipino na lumilikas sila papuntang Lviv pero hindi sila, ayaw nila magpa-repatriate. They just want to wait it out and wait and see. So what we're trying to do is to be in constant contact with the Filipinos who choose to stay and at least know where they are, and also at the same time give them assistance or care packages kung kinakailangan po nila to. Kasi yung mga Pilipino po, yung iba kasi married to Ukrainian, so ayaw rin nilang mahiwalay sa kanilang mga pamilya. Yung iba naman po, mga household service workers na ayaw rin iwanan yung kanilang mga employers. Yung iba, mga teachers. Tapos may mga kababayan din tayo na feeling nila, gusto nila lang talagang i-wait out. Maghintay lang talaga matapos yung kaguluhan at ayaw mo nilang umuwi kasi they like their quality of life there, they like it in Ukraine, and they think na matatapos din to. So yung iba nga po sinasabi nila, kaya namin kahit 2 to 3 months, we will just wait it out.
Meanwhile, Ariola said some 108 Filipinos in Hong Kong tested positive for COVID-19. She said the Philippine consulate in Hong Kong continuously assists them amid the ongoing surge of COVID-19 infections.
Sa tulong din po ng ating mga kababayan doon at ng mga NGOs, nakahanap po ng quarantine facilities para sa kanila. Confirmed 108 po ang positive. Patuloy po everyday, nagbibigay po ng advisories yung konsulado at nakahanda po yung konsulado na mag-assist na kahit sinong Pilipino na nangangailangan ng tulong, no? I think now things are better in Hong Kong dahil nakapag-adjust na sila. Nagulat lang talaga sila last week ng from 0 to 6,000 yung pagtaas ng ng infection rate, pero ngayon meron na rin silang bagong facility na 20,000 bed capacity for isolation. So things are getting better, but we continue to pray for them, and the Philippine consulate in Hong Kong through our congen, si Rally Tejada po, stands ready to assist any Filipino who needs help.
The United Nations Security Council voted to convene a special General Assembly session to discuss Russia's military actions in Ukraine. The countries also voted for the passage of the resolution that would have condemned Moscow's attack on Ukraine. Drafted by the United States and Albania, the resolution seeks to hold Russia accountable for its aggression against Ukraine, reaffirm Ukraine's sovereignty, and demand that Moscow withdraw its forces. U.S. envoy to United Nations Linda Thomas-Greenfield said the draft UN Security Council resolution was approved by 11 nations, while Russia voted no, while 3 countries, India, the United Arab Emirates, and China abstained. She said that while Russia vetoed the said resolution, it cannot veto the voices of the Ukrainian people, the UN Charter, and its accountability. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation in Ukraine on Thursday, days after recognizing 2 separatist-held enclaves in eastern Ukraine. He claimed that Moscow had no plan to occupy its neighbor, but wanted to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. In response, Western powers imposed financial sanctions on Moscow and announced military and humanitarian support for Kiev. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP, has called on Filipinos to unite and pray for world peace, especially in Ukraine. In an interview with church-run Radio Veritas, CBCP President Bishop Pablo Virgilio David said, "Prayer is important to prevent tension from escalating between Russia and Ukraine." David expressed fears that the Russian invasion would be a step to bring back the era of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics and could persuade other powerful countries to occupy small nations. The Caloocan prelate also encouraged the faithful to heed the call of Pope Francis for the Day of Fasting for Peace on March 2nd, Ash Wednesday, and the start of the Lenten season. Reverend Father Carlos Reyes of Our Lady of Fatima Parish in Mandaluyong City also called for prayers to end the conflict, saying a world in prayer is a world at peace. Reyes said the power of prayer can end the war before it escalates into a bigger conflict that would spread to other countries. He recalled the devastation of World War I in 1914, where thousands of innocent civilians were caught in the crossfire. On May 13, 1917, the Blessed Mother appeared before 3 children in Fatima, Portugal, and told them to pray the rosary so that the war would end. Reyes stressed that the message at Fatima remains the same today and beyond. President Rodrigo Duterte thanks the people for supporting his presidency as he counts down to the elections and the end of his term this year. He vows to keep the polls safe and fraud-free. More on this from Marita Mawahe.
President Rodrigo Duterte has expressed his gratitude for the support of Filipinos who honored his job as the chief executive of the country. Based on the recent December 2021 Social Weather Station survey, Duterte maintained a very good net satisfactory rating of positive 60, with the majority of Filipinos still giving their approval for his performance as the country's highest government official. Duterte acknowledged that support for him remains large based on the numbers, meaning these people believed his pledge. He added that he shares the people's emotions when he left Davao City for Malacanang to start his term as chief executive. Duterte began his presidency in June 2016 and is now winding down to the end of his term this year. Regarding his successor, Duterte will not endorse any presidential candidate to stay neutral. He said if the people's interest is at stake, then maybe he would choose a presidential candidate to support in this coming election. Duterte said that this time he has nobody in mind to endorse. Meanwhile, Duterte vowed not to allow any election-related violence to occur during the remaining months of his administration, particularly during the May elections. He also warned against violent electioneering and fraud. Duterte said he has tapped the military and the police to ensure orderly, clean, and peaceful elections nationwide. He added that politicians should never use violence to force the people to elect them. He promised to protect the sanctity of the people's votes. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muahe.
Up next, The PNP is inching closer to ensuring that police officers will not fall prey to addiction to online cockfighting. And 10 outstanding Filipinos are honored with commemorative stamps. More stories when the PNA Newsroom returns. Philippine National Police Chief General Leonardo Carlos has urged all unit commanders to inspect the gadgets of their subordinates to determine those who are hooked into e-sabong or online cockfighting. After the regular flag-raising rites in Camp Crame on Monday, Carlos reminded PNP personnel that they are prohibited from playing e-sabong, saying it will lead to a gaming addiction. Carlos told police officers that incurring debts from this vice is no small matter, as this could force them to engage in criminal activities. He added that police are barred from gambling even if they are off duty. Last February 16, a rookie police officer, Patrolman Glenn Angoluan, was nabbed after he led a series of robbery incidents in Laguna and Batangas. Investigations showed that the suspect was addicted to e-sabong. The PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group has identified the owners of the 5 Facebook accounts that posted misleading photos about the probe on the missing sabongeros. The 5 posters alleged that the bodies of 31 missing cockfight enthusiasts were found in Tanay, Rizal. In a statement, PNP ACG Chief Brigadier General Robert Rodriguez said the photos were actually taken from an ambush incident in Barangay Calumanis, Gidulungan, Maguindanao, where 9 died on February 12. He reminded the public to avoid the spreading of fake news and disinformation. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año asked persons with information on the 31 missing cockfight enthusiasts to cooperate with authorities. The Senate has also opened an inquiry into some lawmakers called on the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation to suspend the licenses of electronic sabong operators pending the result of the investigation. The Department of Agriculture has provided fertilizer assistance to at least 815 members of the Legazpi City Farmers Association. The farmer beneficiaries are officially enrolled with a registry system for basic sector of agriculture as required by the DA. They will be using their fertilizers for planting hybrid and inbred palay seeds in their respective farmlands. The City Agriculture Office said Legazpi has about 525 hectares of rice field that produce an average of 120 bags per hectare of hybrid palay and 90 bags of certified seeds of palay. The planting material of hybrid palay and fertilizers have been given for free to the farmers as part of the DA subsidization program. Meanwhile, farmers belonging to indigenous peoples communities in Impasugong, Bukidnon also received livelihood assistance from the Department of Agriculture. The 2.1 million peso DA project Kabuhayan at Kaunlaran ng Kababayang Katutubo or 4K included 24 horses and 12 carabaos, plows and harrows and abaca seedlings. The program also aims to capacitate the IPs through community organizing, agriculture skills training, and workshops. The DA said the agency's 4K program supports the whole-of-nation approach of Executive Order No. 70, which formed the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. DA-10 likewise allocated $13.9 million worth of projects under the Special Area for Agricultural Development program. They will be distributing free-range chickens, goats, and cattle multipliers to 18 farmer associations in the provinces of Lanao del Norte, Bukidnon, and Misamis Occidental. A Nigerian national was killed in a buy-bus operation that yielded 13.6 million pesos worth of shabu in Quezon City on Sunday evening. PNP Drug Enforcement Group Chief Brigadier General Randy Peralta identified the suspect as Edgy4 Smart, who died in a gunfight along the Batasan-San Mateo Road in Barangay Batasan Hills. Police recovered 2 kilos of shabu, budol money, a wallet with assorted IDs, and a caliber .45 pistol with 1 inserted magazine. Reports showed that the suspect had 2 cohorts who fled during the operation. The suspect is a known drug dealer in Metro Manila and other nearby provinces. His group delivers illegal drugs by placing these inside boxes of powdered milk that are mixed with grocery items. The Philippine Post Office launched the 10 outstanding Filipinos commemorative stamps in a ceremony held at the historic Manila Central Post Office in Liwasang, Bonifacio on Saturday. With the theme, Salamat, Pagpupugay sa mga alamat, the post office paid tribute to bowler Olivia Bongku, actress Miss Gloria Romero, basketball player Mr. El Presidente Ramon Fernandez, star for all seasons Vilma Santos, painter Romulo Galicano, actress Susan Roses, scientist Dr. Baldemero Olivera, scientist and physician Dr. Ernesto Domingo, actress and philanthropist Ms. Rosa Rosal, and superstar Ms. Nora Honor. Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio said, "These 10 outstanding Filipinos have dedicated their lives and talents to the Filipino people." The Living Legends Outstanding Filipino Series won the second of the 3 categories of Philippine stamps released by the Post Office, commemorate the 75th anniversary of the first issuance of stamps by the Republic of the Philippines. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Metro Manila and some areas in the country will shift to the new normal starting tomorrow. More restrictions will be eased while more establishments will be allowed to operate on full capacity. The government moves to evacuate Filipinos as fighting between Russia and Ukraine rages. The Philippines' top diplomat flies to Poland to personally check their condition. President Rodrigo Duterte is thankful for the Filipinos' continued support to his administration, with no presidential candidate to endorse yet, just a few months before the next polls. And the country's top cop wants mobile phones and gadgets of police officers checked as he cracks down on e-sabong among the ranks, reminding them to stay out of trouble caused by addiction to the vice. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.